and more. Catch us Monday from 7 to 8 Central on Tide100.9.com and TiderInsider.com and all your social media platforms for Inside the Trenches.
See, I'm from Big Bama, you're not the little one. We got smoke for anybody that wants some. Yeah, we don't do no yapping, and we don't do no capping. We from the state where all we know is make it happen.
Welcome into Inside the Trenches for this Monday night, October 13th, 2025. I'm Gary Harris. Inside the Trenches stars former Alabama and NFL greats Wallace Gilberry and Andre Smith. Also, Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com and Tider Insider TV. And we break it down, all things Alabama football, obviously with a heavy dose of the previous game and a look ahead to the upcoming game. And we will start right there with the previous game. Alabama goes into Columbia, and after breaking Georgia's 33-game home winning streak in Athens 2 weeks earlier, and a home win against Vanderbilt snapped Missouri's home winning streak. And because of that, Alabama now has the longest home winning streak in the country at 15 games, 27-24. It was not easy. It was not expected to be easy. Alabama made some mistakes in the game, and Ty Simpson, despite the fact that he made the clutch plays when he needed to make them and really had a fine game, there was a stretch in the game where he did not play his best football, but still he went 23 of 31 for 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did have a very costly fumble to start the third quarter that allowed Missouri to have a short field and tie the game at 17-17. But Alabama gets the win, so let's start our panel discussion with Wallace Gilberry. What did you take away? I guess the biggest thing, Wallace, is they're 5-1 and 3-0 in the SEC and found a way to win again on the road for the second time this season.
Long Gary, you can't take nothing away from the guys. They're playing hard. They're buying in. You can see up front the guys are understanding the concept of the game, where they at in the play calling. So I like that part of it. But again, we're giving up big plays on both sides of the ball. I felt like the opponent, not lesser than the opponent. I mean, hats off to Missouri. I mean, they're top 4 in offense and defense in the country. But at the same time, I feel like a great opponent, we might have struggled a little bit more than what we did.
Andre?
Well, I feel like we played hard at the beginning of the game. Then we had a little lull, I think, right there where we got a little lackadaisical coming out of halftime. But I think the guys, when they had adversity come up, I think they stepped up and were able to answer enough just to get the victory. Like Wallace said, Missouri did some really good things on offense and defense, so it was a really good competition, so to speak, for Saturday. But, those guys got some things to learn from, look at the film, get better, and get ready for a tough opponent this upcoming Saturday.
Rodney, we discussed this on my radio show this morning. This league, no matter who you're playing, it seems like most of these games come down to the fourth quarter. A lot of them come down to the final possession. And there's a fine line between winning and losing. And it appears to me that Alabama's 3-0 in the league because they're making the plays when you have to make the plays to win the game. And that's one thing about Ty Simpson. He's not scared of the moment. That 4th and 8, not a lot of coaches would go for it on 4th and 8. They might try a field goal or they might try to punt it down and pin them. But to go for it on 4th and 8 and to throw that ball that he threw to Brooks, and really the only place that you could put it, that it could be a reception, and then for Brooks to squeeze it and make that catch, have the concentration with his helmet come off, and then again on 4th down and goal to throw it to Daniel Hill. Those are the 2 plays that won the football game.
They did. I mean, it's critical plays, and that Kalen DeBoer mentioned that today. Last year, they weren't making the critical plays. This year, you're seeing them in these games making these critical plays. They beat Georgia by 3. They beat Missouri on the road by 3, and that game at Vanderbilt was in Tuscaloosa against Vanderbilt was really close. But Alabama made the critical plays in that game. I'm with Wallace though. Again, I thought when you look at Alabama, when you look at them defensively and you say, what did they do against the run? That has been a weakness of this Alabama team. Okay, Missouri comes in averaging 292 yards a game. They have one of the best, most vaunted rushing attacks in the country. Alabama holds them to 163. I really felt if Alabama could hold them between 150, 175, be a pretty good mark. Again, they did get gashed at times. Now, Wallace, you made a post on TiderInsider.com, and you said you weren't really totally pleased. I guess you gave them a C, if I remember correctly. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But you thought they could have done a better job against the run. Obviously they did they did a good job against a team that was averaging 292 yards a game. But tell me, what did you see that kind of concerned you a little?
Well, I just feel like we're getting in this, and we are inside the trenches. So I'm going to take you guys inside a little bit. So when I watch the game, that's what I'm watching, the D-line and the O-line. And I see us getting tied up on the blocks too long in the run game. I would like to see us shock those blocks and get off more so we can control those gaps, because we are running a 3-man front. So we have to help our linebackers out in the backside. So I would just like to see us shock the O-lineman and get more presence in our gaps quick we're doing to kind of make that running back. Because when those running backs see the gap, even if they see a flash of being the gap, they get query in the back and they bounce to the other gaps. So that's what we got to have. We got to have that presence in those gaps to stop those backs from having so much confidence just running straight at us.
Yeah. So, in this game, I did think they've done a better job. I think we have seen improvement. I think they have had better gap integrity. They continue to improve, and they have had some injuries on the defensive line. But I think when you start seeing some young guys like Keon Keeley, he stepped up. I know a lot of Alabama fans have been waiting for number 31 to finally get on the field. He was a 5-star recruit as an outside linebacker, jack linebacker. Now he's been moved to defensive end. Wallace, you've played outside back. I mean, coming out of high school, you were kind of a rush-in-like player. What is the transition there for a guy like Keon Keeley? How difficult is that to make that transition to a down defensive end?
It's not really a heavy transition if you're a dog, and he's a dog. I mean, coming out of high school, he racked it up. And he had a great camp. So I don't see him having a lack of confidence when, having to put his hand in dirt at times and being a little closer to that tackle and even at that guard. And he has the speed. He has the speed off the line of scrimmage to get off to compensate for the size that he lacks against those big, deep offensive tackles. So I like to move. I like to move a lot, Rodney.
Yeah, I know a lot of Alabama fans are really excited about Keon Keeley being out there. Some of the younger players, London Simmons in the middle, has done a fantastic job. It's a guy that really wasn't very highly recruited out of Mississippi. Alabama did a really good job of identifying him and getting him here. It's a true freshman. And, Andre, I want to ask you this. We talked about this earlier, going on the road, how difficult it can be with all the noise. Alabama's tackles, especially, I know Wilkenforby had one play where he kind of struggled to get off and get the guy. I could not tell if the running back Daniel Hill was supposed to help him on that play, but he did go out on a route. So again, I'm really not sure exactly what happened on that play, but it did look like, according to what people are saying or what we hear, is that the crowd noise really affected Wilkenforby's get off on that play.
Yeah, crowd noise can most definitely be, the difference of getting off on time or getting off the snap count late or being on time. As offensive tackle, you always want to have an advantage when playing in a tough situation, adverse crowd, really ruckus, everybody's really being loud. We want that advantage, but it just comes down to having your trust in your technique and get it at the end of the day and being able to get to your spot and be ready to fight. But it's adversity. Guys will learn from it. Maybe we'll do some things different with the silent cadence to make sure these guys understand when there's time to get off on the snap count and whatnot. So, just like I said, it's growing pains. We're going to continue to get better and push forward. As long as the guys keep moving in the right direction, trending upward, I think there's something really good to build on and keep putting the good foot forward.
Wallace, let's get back to the defense. And Dre, you can comment on this too. Rodney, you can as well. Something, though, that is concerning is in all these games, Alabama plays mostly good defense. I think we'd agree with that. And for most of the game, they're really sound. But there are just pockets. And in this game, there were two of them. First of all, when you win the toss and defer, I know you're trying to get a 2-for-1 at the end of the half and you don't get the ball coming out in the third quarter, but you're also counting on your defense to get a stop, to not let them. The opening drive, they went through Alabama like a hot, a knife through hot butter. There was no resistance. And then later in the game, after you go up 10 and with just three minutes or so to go in the game, again, you're counting on your defense to at least make them work for it a little bit. And they went right down the field and scored. How can you play such good defense for most of the game, but particularly to start the game, which is highly important. And you've been preparing for this team all week and they carve you up like that.
It's and that's what I mean about those grades that I gave out on Tighter Insider. A big game, those breakdowns will hurt you. Even though that was a big game because it was on a big stage. But I still feel like we should have at least beat Vandy by it. We left points on the field is the point that I'm making. But as far as the defensive side of it, again, we just have to be gap sound. We have to be gap sound and have more confidence gaps in our gap integrity, and we'll be fine. I mean, like, again, I love what the backup is doing. Keely's coming in. These guys are playing with confidence. I mean, these are young guys coming in the SEC playing with confidence. So I love what I'm seeing. But again, I would love to see more defensive gap sound.
Dre, what's your thoughts on you know, how sound they can be for most of the game, and then there are 2 or 3 drives a game, it seems like, where the defense just seems completely out of sorts. Dre, you with us? Ronnie, you take that one.
Muted.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, there's a thing called hero ball, as defensive players like to say. You know, guys tend to do more than they're supposed to do instead of doing what they're supposed to do in the scheme of things, whether being in that gap or whether it be maybe slant across face or whatever it may be, the defensive play may be. So I think those guys tend to do a hero ball from time to time. We just call guys to get in bad gaps, we open up lanes for run, or even deep passes downfield. So I think if we get guys just to continue to buy in for a whole 60 minutes, I think we'll still drastic fall in those type of areas.
And Dre, I'm going to tell you this too, Dre. A lot of those run games came from, you know, I saw up front, you know, they was running a text game. And me and you both know in that text game, if that 3 technique doesn't get penetration and wrap around for the quarterback, and at the end come under, that's going to be a lane. And so I saw a lot of that. There was enough continuity on those games. At times, the defensive tackle was stopping on the pass rush instead of coming on around, and he probably would have had a sack, or at least forced the quarterback into the defensive end. So a lot of that too, you know, exactly, needs to be cleaned up.
Rod, I do want to give the defense credit for this. If you just said going into the game that Prabula was going to be Missouri's leading rusher ahead of Hardy and Roberts, you would take it. And he was the leading rusher. They held Hardy 12 carries to 52 yards. Incredible job. Now, Roberts had 5 carries for 50 yards, so he averaged 10 yards a carry. But getting back to what I'm talking about, how much good defense they play. Missouri had 24 points. 14 of them came to start the game. And then, of course, Alabama fumbled the ball, so you can't put that on the defense. But then after you go up 10, they go down and have a long touchdown drive, and then got the ball back again and got into scoring position. To what Gil was talking about, you got away with it this game, but at some point, you got to get stops in critical situations, or it's going to cost you.
Yeah, and that's what Wallace and we talked earlier today on the phone, and I was like, you know, Wallace, they did hold them 130 yards under their rushing total. And Wallace said, yeah, I get that. But here's these critical spots when they're gashing us. And in a game, you're going to get into a game against somebody. It's going to probably be better than Missouri, and it's going to cost you. So I understand exactly what, you know, Wallace, his point there. And I agree. And they do have to tighten that up. And again, I will say this too. I think, you know, when you look at kind of what's happened up front with some of the guys they've had to shuffle in, you know, you lost Beeman. Keenan was out for a while. Now Kelby Collins got hurt in this game. Of course, he was playing some. He had a good game against Vanderbilt. Wasn't playing a ton. But still, when you have some inconsistencies up front, you're having to utilize a bunch of different guys. You're bringing in guys that don't have a lot of experience. Sometimes, you know, it takes a little time for them to get where they need to be. But I think overall, when you talk about Missouri, the running game that they have to hold them to 163 yards, it's probably pretty good with the exception of the runs that they gave up. Now, we'll say this too. Pribula, the quarterback, got loose a couple of times. They're going to have to continue to work on that. I thought they did a really good job against Pavia. Not as good a job maybe on Pribula. But you know what? They did come up with a critical stop. They came up with a critical stop on that pick at the end of the game. So that was big. And they missed some opportunities.
Yeah.
Guys, Wallace and Dre, they missed some opportunities there when the ball was on the ground. Defense didn't get on and a couple fumble opportunities. And Dejoun Lee did drop an interception. You know, it's a great play, but got to come down with it.
All right, Bob's telling me that we need to get our first break in and hear from some of our terrific sponsors. Listen, if you want to get involved in the program, we do take phone calls on this podcast, which makes us kind of unique. We've had callers every week. The phone number on the Inside the Trenches hotline is 205-339-4953. So if you want to talk to Gil and to Dre, 205-339-4953 is the number. You can call in and talk with these two former Bama and NFL greats right here on Inside the Trenches. We'll be back after this timeout.
Day has come and gone, but the best beach days are ahead of you on the Alabama Gulf Coast now through Thanksgiving. everything. No one wants to work on vacation, so let iBeach Service do it for you. They'll set up your chairs, umbrellas, and canopies every morning and take them down every evening so you can soak up the calm, the sun, and the peace you deserve. For more information, you can call us at 251-504-0097 or visit us online at ibeachservice.com.
The Law Tigers is once again giving away a custom-built Crimson Tide motorcycle to one lucky fan. This one-of-a-kind bike is a tribute to your favorite team and was built by Area 51 Customs. Go to crimsontidebike.com now for your chance to win.
The fall is a great time to come have a ball at the beach. This is Hunter Harrelson, owner of Beach Ball Properties, letting you know that we have great condos and houses waiting for you to come down and take advantage of reduced rates, less traffic, no waiting at restaurants, and the beautiful fall weather here in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Check us out at beachballproperties.com, on Facebook, or call us at 251-968-8896. If you have an investment property, I would love the opportunity to discuss how we can be the best owner-friendly deal on the coast. Come have a ball at the beach.
How would you like to win a tailgate package from Fusakli's? Listen to the game with Ryan Fowler for your chance to win a Fusakli's tailgate pack with a tray of 50 fingers, half pan of crinkle-cut fries, 2 6-packs of Texas toast, 2 pints of house-made coleslaw, a gallon of fresh squeezed lemonade, and 2 pints of house-made Fusakli sauce. Listen to the game with Ryan Fowler every day from 2 until 6 for how to win a tailgate package for football season from Fusakli's and Tide 100.9.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America. Proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Chris Stewart, and it's tailgate season at Townsend Honda in Tuscaloosa. Roll up to the game in a new 2026 Honda CR-V. Get as low as 2.99% APR, plus 3 years of complimentary scheduled maintenance, and we'll make your first payment up to $500. Shop TownsendHonda.com for the best selection of Hondas and certified pre-owned vehicles, all backed by the Townsend Certified Warranty. Townsend Honda, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, where every new Honda comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. 2.99% for up to 36 months on select new 2026 Honda CR-V for well-qualified buyers with free credit through Honda Financial Services. See dealer for details. Offer is 11/3/25.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Want to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Download the Tide 100.9 app today.
Score! Football is back. Join former Alabama standouts Wallace Gilberry and Andre Smith alongside Tider insiders Rodney Orr and Gary Harris every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Central as Wallace and Andre take you inside their time in the Crimson and White and in the NFL. Come along as they give you an inside look into the Crimson Tide and more. Catch us Monday from 7 to 8 Central on Tide100.9.com and TiderInsider.com and all your social media platforms for Inside the Trenches.
Yeah, I'm from Big Bama. You're not the little
All right, we're back on Inside the Trenches with Wallace Gilberry, Andre Smith, Rodney Orr, and me, Gary Harris. And we'll take your phone calls, 339-4953, area code 205. All right, Wallace, I want to bring you in because, listen, the podcast is really starting to take off. Our viewership and listenership is growing, and that's what we want. That's what we're here for. At the same time, it takes finances to make this thing go around week to week. You have lined up some sponsors. I want to give you an opportunity, if you want to spotlight some of our sponsors, but also to tell people how they can get involved if they want to support Inside the Trenches financially.
Absolutely. Well, Inside the Trenches, 9271 at gmail.com. You guys can tag us in, hit us up, let us know what your need is. Let us know how we can help you get your brand out there. We're looking forward to partnering with anybody that we can, definitely anybody in the Bama Nation that want to get their business out there. Law Tigers, Beach Bar Properties. Speaking of Beach Bar Properties, those guys are giving away a three-night condo rental here in Orange Beach, Gulf Coast area. So we're going to be giving that away here on the podcast pretty soon. Yeah, absolutely. And do Law Tigers, Area 51's team together and giving away a custom Crimson Tide sports bike. You can head over to Crimson Tide to register to win that bike. But every week they're coming. We're in talks with a couple sponsors right now. Hopefully next week we can announce those guys and start doing some cool stuff with them. So yeah, Inside the Trenches 9271@gmail.com. Reach out to us and we'll
Awesome. Look forward to bringing in new sponsors. All right, let's get back to our topic. All right, Missouri, good win, solid win. Snapped their, I think it was 17 games or 18 games what their home winning streak was. And now Alabama with 15 straight home wins has the longest home winning streak. You have to go back to Texas a couple of years ago since Alabama lost at home. But Gil, let's start with you. As we have talked so much about on the podcast, it's week to week. What you did the previous week doesn't matter anymore. Alabama's 3-0. But they come home to play Tennessee. And after winning 15 in a row over Tennessee, the Vols have won 2 of the last 3, including last year. That's a good football team. They're going to come in here, and the last thing you want to do after these 2 wins at Georgia and Missouri sandwiched in there with a win at home against Vanderbilt is drop a home game to Tennessee this Saturday.
And Rodney and Gary, Andre, we all know this rivalry dates back before, I was born. The Tennessee, Alabama, the hatred, that orange and that crimson tide runs deep. So regardless of what the record is, regardless of who played who last week, they're going to come in Bryant-Denny, Saban Field and give us their best shot. They're going to throw all the cannons, all the bows, everything at us. So we have to expect that. I think that's expected now. When teams get off the bus, they're not afraid anymore. They're going to come in and unload the cannons. So, and again, like we alluded to earlier, Gary, the first drives on defense have not been our best drives. And so I don't think we should let Tennessee come in here and get up on us pretty fast because they can score a lot of points pretty quick.
Dre, you played in this rivalry too, like Wallace.
Yeah, I think most definitely that as long as the guys come out with, Tennessee's going to play with their hair on fire, of course, like you said, they won 2 of the 3, so they're not intimidated about coming into Bryant-Denny and stirring up some noise, So I think for those guys, Alabama, the most important thing is for us to play fast in all 3 phases of football, whether it be special teams, offense, or defense. And like Wallace said, in those 3 phases, we need to make sure we start fast so we won't have those laws in the games that we do eventually. So I think those guys will coach their board. They'll get those guys to buy in. I think we'll have a good game this coming Saturday.
Rod, you know the history of this series as well as anyone, and it's been streaky. Fortunately, Alabama's had the longer streaks. Bryant hung 11 in a row and over Saban hung 15 in a row, but they've had their moments too.
Yeah, they
and
have.
Fulmer, in fact, Dre, and Wallace were here when Tennessee had the upper hand, and of course Saban changed that. But
yeah, I lost to him once.
Yeah, and then after that, it Saban, like I said, 15 wins in a row. But Roddy, and Dre spoke to this. They're going to be a confident team. Heupel's had success against Alabama, including beating Saban 2 years ago and then winning, or 3 years ago and then winning last year. They're not going to come in here willing to give in at all to Alabama. No. And you'll have to play well. The quarterback, they brought him in last minute, but he's played really well for them.
Aguilar. He really has. Joey Aguilar's done a fantastic job. Transfer from he was at UCLA. Gary, a few weeks, a month, whatever it was. What App State. He's got a lot of credentials, man. I mean, this guy's done a fantastic job this year. He's thrown 14 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, got over 1,680 yards passing. Here's the thing about Joey Aguilar. Again, he's only got 5 interceptions right now, but the last 2 years leading up to this, he threw 24 picks. He's got a propensity to throw the ball in traffic. And again, they've done a really good job with him this year. He's only got 5 picks right now, but they've got some receivers, Wallace, Dre. They've got Chris Brazzell. This guy's 6 foot, nearly 6'5". Fantastic receiver. He's got over 30 catches. He makes a lot of big plays. They're offensively, they average over 500 yards a game. And they average 48 points a game. They're the number 1 scoring offense in the country. Got a lot of balance. They can run the ball. They run for 210. They throw it for 317. So they've got a ton of balance. I mean, this is going to be a real challenge. One thing we didn't mention, though, Wallace, one thing we didn't mention about third downs Alabama defense held Missouri 1 of 10. That was a fantastic stat right there.
Sure was. And again, that's the biggest thing about defense is getting off the field. And Freddie has those guys humping and going. So they're locked in. I love where Roach has these guys playing right now. And back to what you were saying about Aguilar, he reminds you a lot of Jameis Winston. And when you play those guys, you don't have to do a lot to beat them. You let them beat themselves. And so that's what Bama has to do. We can't get into a gun-slinging match with these guys. We have to play our ball, be in position, and let these guys make their mistakes, and we capitalize off of it.
Yeah, time of possession is really big, Wallace. I mean, and Dre, Alabama had 38 minutes. They kind of turned the tables on Missouri. Missouri was a team that came in that was averaging close to 38 minutes time of possession. Bama dominated time of possession. I think it'd be really important in this game. Now, think about this, too. Now, Tennessee only averages about 26 minutes per game time of possession. So this could be a game where Alabama dominates possession, keeps the ball away from Tennessee. Hey, you keep the ball away from them, they can't make their plays.
205-339-4953 is the number on the Inside the Trenches hotline, and Jimmy is with us this evening. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Rodney.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's Jimmy. Wanted to, just kind of chime in there in regard to actually both the offenses in this game. They're very prolific, and I think both defenses, could very well have their hands full. I was stunned to see Arkansas with, a program that had fired their coach and Petrino came in as interim head coach, just how freely they moved the ball on Tennessee's defense. I mean, 500 yards.
Right at 496.
Total offense. 496 to be
right
exact.
At 500, yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, we knew their defense was not good because that's why they made a coaching change. But at the same time, their offense they've got a really good scheme. Heupel's going to want to play the hurry-up game, and I was concerned after we got the two-score lead with 3 minutes left in Como that Missouri had been very reluctant to throw the ball down the field vertically because Prabula was having some issues. But, man, when they got behind, they went down 75 yards in like a minute 40 or something. And all of a sudden, they're right back in the game, and they get the ball back, and we're kind of moving it again. And it was kind of a concern. And I've just and even though, we made the big plays when we needed to, I was really concerned. And if we wouldn't have had an elite quarterback, I thought we could have had some problems because their pass rush was a real problem.
Great stuff, Jimmy. Really is. Gil, he had some really good analysis there on the phone about, again, kind of what we've talked about. The whole theme of this podcast has been playing good defense has not been an issue, but consistency in performance has been an issue. And that's something as you get into these games against Tennessee and LSU and Oklahoma and Auburn, those kind of games, Dre, you can't give up the big plays. Jimmy kind of said, you get up 10 and they go 75 yards on you like it was nothing. Dre, you there?
Oh, you talking to me? I didn't know you were asking the question.
Dre, either one. I'm looking for either one of y'all. Again, it's just the podcast has been consistency.
I'm Wallace.
but like you were saying, just like the chemistry as a whole, like we got to realize that these guys are really just starting to gel as a unit up front on both sides, whether it be defense and offense. Defense has really been dealing with injuries. Really been having to deal with that next man mentality. But, as an offense, the more and more you play together, the more you build that camaraderie, As like I always say, as an offensive unit, we're the only unit that have to play great together all the time in order for the team to be successful. So where on defense, you're just going to have a guy who's that guy to go make plays for you. But the biggest thing I think this upcoming week is just to make the quarterback feel uncomfortable and get him off his spot so the defense and the secondary can make plays because you say he has to turn over his shoe. So you make him feel uncomfortable, he'll throw the ball at our defensive players, will give us more opportunities to push the ball down the field on offense. So as long as we come out and play hard as a team, I think we'll have a good show out on Saturday, man.
What really kind of sticks out to me when I look at Tennessee defensively. They've got 26 sacks. They rush the passer. Now, they do give up points. They've given up yards, but they can rush the passer, Wallace. I mean, they get after the passer. They've got 50 tackles for losses, 50. Now, when you look at the sacks, Alabama's got 9 sacks. Okay, Alabama's given up 13 sacks. Now, some of those ties held the ball, but I'm just saying Tennessee will get after the quarterback.
And just what you alluded to, Rodney, Ty does hold the ball a little bit. And I mean, this probably be a question for Dre, but was it in our mind, Dre, when I watch film and you see how quick a quarterback gets the ball out, we put a clock on our head. And usually the good quarterbacks are 1.5 to 2 seconds. And NFL, they get a little faster. So what's the clock in you guys' head? Do you guys have a clock in your head that, okay, because you guys get the holding after about 3-4 seconds. So what's the how long is that clock?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, all right. Whatever.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So do you guys have that same clock in the back of y'all head too?
Not really. You know, it's really the dynamic of the play. You know, certain plays are down the field passes where you have to hold up a little bit longer. But usually, you know, you're pretty confident on your quarterback, whether it be a 3-step drop, you know, usually that's pretty quick, or maybe a 5-step drop or something like that, you know, where you may have to hold up a little bit longer. So, I mean, it just depends on what the play call is. You know, we're depending on him to read his keys and get rid of the ball. It's like he's depending on us to stand up long enough for he to get rid of the ball. So it's also, like I said, we keep standing up right. We'll do some really good things on offense, and we have a productive day come Saturday.
You know, listen, Gary, I want to say this because you'll know what I'm talking about here with Daniel Hill. You know, obviously, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Jam Miller. I mean, he's in concussion protocol, but my guess is, if I had to guess, I would say most likely wouldn't play. I mean, I think that's a fair guess. Maybe he does play. But if he doesn't play, I thought it was really good to see Daniel Hill get in the game. He's a power runner. I mean, he's a 240-pound sledgehammer. But I think what's really impressive about him is, and we saw this in his high school tape, is his ability to catch the ball. He caught that ball. I mean, again, it was uncontested, but he made a nice play catching the ball the way he did. I think if Alabama can get, and again, I think Jam was kind of getting there. If they can really get this running game going, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, well, as you know, I know his dad really well.
Yeah, right.
Demetrius Hill, and for Gil and Dre, was the #1 high school defensive tackle in the country when he came out of Meridian, Mississippi back in 1985. He had to go to junior college. And then I thought he was coming to Alabama, and I think he wanted to come to Alabama. And Mississippi State did a good job recruiting him. I'll just say that. They sure and they got him over there. But that's when I was working in TV over there. And you know, Daniel did come to Alabama. I think that's what, you know, the family wanted. And he is a big, strong, you know, Wallace, he's different than the other backs on this roster. You know, they've got a lot of good backs, but he is the only one that, other than Caden Proctor, who is, you know, who's a big guy. He's 240 pounds. But when he caught that pass, you know, he high pointed that thing, falling down and got it into his chest. He's a really good athlete. I think he's a guy that can help him going forward.
You know, and Bama's already, we've been known for that for, you know, a couple of decades now, with those big backs that can move and come out the backfield and catch the ball. And it's good seeing that those guys are still hitting on the roster. And even, you know, we don't want to see Jam go down like that, but hey, you know, with having him given the opportunity to come in and display his talent, you know, that's what you want to see, you know, next man up mentality. And I like it.
You know, I want to ask you this too, Wallace, because you've played against a lot of great backs at Alabama, but also in the NFL, obviously. And, you know, you've got a guy like Kevin Riley, who's kind of he's got a lot of versatility. He's not the biggest guy. He's kind of a scat back guy with the ability to catch a ball. And then you bring in a sledgehammer. How tough is it? How much can a guy, a 240-pound sledgehammer, weigh on a defense? I mean, what's it like trying to tackle a guy like that?
I mean, I'll take you back to Brandon Jacobs, Cadillac Williams, and Ronnie Brown. I mean, those were three-headed monsters that you didn't want to tackle any of them. But, you know, when you bring a guy like Brandon Jacobs in the game, who's 6'3", 240, you know, running a 4.344, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot. That's a business decision that you have to make, you know, at some point in the game. You know, do I want to keep, you know, hitting this guy and potentially, you know, ruining my career, or you know, do I want to cower out? But, you know, playing in the SEC, there is no cowering out. You know, you find a way to get the job done. You find a way to, you know, get those guys on the ground. And again, it is a business decision.
get away from the field for a second, because this is the third Saturday in October. This is Alabama Tennessee week. You guys played in it. Rodney's covered it for many, many years. I've covered it. You know, we all have a history in this state. There are football games that are big football games. Then there are games that are personal. Dre, wouldn't you say this game's personal? I mean, it's not just about a football game. It's about pride. It's about bragging rights, state against state. You know, it's one of these games that where the coaches always say, and I know Saban said it was never personal, but I don't know that he actually even believed that. There are a couple games a year, this one in Auburn, where maybe LSU too, where it's more than just about winning a football game, right? Am I correct here?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, we always want to be those guys smoking those cigars at the end of the game. You know, for sure. So that's one thing that's on the line, and you know, also for recruiting. You know, Tennessee's done some really good things in recruiting. You know, you're also trying to have recruiting edge on your opponent. I just think it just comes down to us wanting them more than they do. And every time I always lined up against Tennessee, it always was a great game, very physical, but I always wanted to break their morale, break their spirit, so to speak. And even when we played up there in Neyland James, you know, I really wanted the fans to sit on their hands the entire game. So just to have those experiences and win in those type of atmospheres is really important and really fun. So hopefully those guys get to embrace that this weekend.
Dre, coaches always say you can't get up for every game. I mean, you can't be sky high for every game, but you can be sky high for this game, right? I mean, this is one where you emotionally, the player-led pep talks and the coaches. I mean, this is one where you can go ahead and expend a little extra emotion. Am I right?
I play every game hard. You know, it really didn't matter who lined up in front of me. Like you alluded to earlier, you know, you have the LSU games that are always supposed to be hyped up games. You have the Auburn games that are supposed to be hyped up. But, you know, one thing I learned from Coach Saban, you never take an opponent for granted, which we learned in 2007 against Louisiana Monroe. So every game I ever played at after that point was always about trying to, like I said, make the opponent quit and dominate them for 4 quarters.
Wallace, you're an emotional guy, but that 2007 game, I think back to that one, even though that started the textbook deal. But that Saturday, you guys were just you were sky high, man. You were ready to go that day in a way that Alabama hadn't been ready to go in a while. But speak to that.
You got to understand. Let's take it back a year from that. You know, that's when the Rocky Stop started. You know, I'll never forget. You know, Coach Khan used to always say, "Great things happen when you run to the ball," and that's how I made the first Rocky Stop painting. Roman Harper came in and charged the ball out. Right, D'Amico Ryans, Freddie Roach, Mark Anderson, and myself all running to the ball, trailing that ball because that was a 6-3 game, a defense slugfest. I mean, it literally came down to who had the ball last. And so we all remembered that. And so that game is, and I tell everybody, the 2 most physical guys I ever went against in my career was Brian Waters from the Kansas City Chiefs and Aaron Sears from Tennessee. You know, those 2 guys are 2 of the strongest guards I ever played against. So again, those is pack your lunch pail. And there's a full head, 4 quarters, full steam game.
They got Aaron Sears out of the state of Alabama. Did you know that, Wallace? He was now. I
don't know. I don't know how. Well, I kind of know how, because back then, you know, recruiting wasn't really a big deal. But that guy there was a beast, a beast. Yeah. The best guard I ever played against on a college level, hands down.
Well, let me give you the cigar tradition, because you guys both experienced it, but not everybody knows that Coach Bryant, of course, could never beat General Neyland when he was at Kentucky. And when he got to Alabama, and Jim Goosetree, the trainer, was a Tennessee graduate, and Ken Donahue, the great defensive coordinator, was a Tennessee graduate. But Jim Goosetree, the trainer, started the tradition of smoking cigars after beating Tennessee. So there was, Ronnie, you know this story. And you know Coach Bryant, before we hit the break. Coach Bryant, and I've talked to, you have too. A lot of them are deceased now, but former staffers that said, yeah, every you know, he loved beating Auburn, but the Tennessee game was special to him going back to his days at Kentucky.
Yeah, it was special. I mean, that was the point of the season that Coach Bryant really thought the team needed to start gelling. Mm-hmm. So it was an important part of the season. I mean, the 3rd Saturday in October. And, you know, they had a lot of success. Like you said, 11 in a row is a great run.
All right, we got to get to our second break here on Inside the Trenches, 205-339-4953. If you want to join the program, we'll be back right after this.
Man, I hate Tennessee because, first of all, it's Tennessee. And I just hate them because they low down, they dirty, they some snitches, and I hate Phillip Fulmer. I hate their colors. I'm not a dog person. I just hate Tennessee, man. Like, I hate Neyland Stadium. It looks like a garbage truck worker convention, and I hate all their quarterbacks. I hate Tennessee, man. I hate Tennessee more than I hate Auburn. I just dislike Auburn. I hate Tennessee. See, Tennessee's colors is that throw up orange. It's not that orange that you can sit with. It's that puke inside of a pumpkin orange. And I don't like pumpkins. So I really don't like Tennessee, man. I can't stress that enough, man. And they losers. They sore losers because they're not Alabama, and I hate Tennessee, man.
Labor Day has come and gone, but the best beach days are ahead of you on the Alabama Gulf Coast now through Thanksgiving. No one wants to work on vacation, so let iBeach Service do it for you. They'll set up your chairs, umbrellas, and canopies every morning and take them down every evening so you can soak up the calm, the sun, and the peace you deserve. For more information, you can call us at 251-504-0097 or visit us online at ibeachservice.com.
The Law Tigers is once again giving away a custom-built Crimson Tide motorcycle to one lucky fan. This one-of-a-kind bike is a tribute to your favorite team and was built by Area 51 Customs. Go to crimsontidebike.com now for your chance to win.
The fall is a great time to come have a ball at the beach. This is Hunter Harrelson, owner of Beach Ball Properties, letting you know that we have dozens of great condos and houses waiting for you to come down and take advantage of reduced rates, less traffic, no waiting at restaurants, and the beautiful fall weather here in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Check us out at beachballproperties.com, on Facebook, or call us at 251-968-8896. If you have an investment property, I would love the opportunity to discuss how we can be the best owner-friendly deal on the coast. Come have a ball at the beach.
Hi, I'm Marty Lyons. When I come to Taco Casa, I always order the 2 and 2. 2 Sanchos, 2 enchiladas.
And I'm Wilkin Forby. And when I come to Taco Casa, I always order the Fantastic Four. 4 Sanchos, 4 enchiladas, 4 tacos, and 4 burritos.
Taco Casa is always made with the finest ingredients and made fresh when you order. So whatever the size of your appetite,
there's always something delicious waiting for you here at Taco Casa.
Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Get a head start on your holiday shopping at Celebrate Local. Shop the halls. Join us Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Bryant Conference Center on the University of Alabama campus. Enjoy a festive shopping experience with local boutiques, artists, and more with free admission. Presented by Visit Tuscaloosa and Premier Service Company, an event by the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama. Celebrate Local, Shop the Halls, November 19th at Bryant Conference Center.
Football is back. Join former Alabama standouts Wallace Gilberry and Andre Smith alongside Tiger insiders Rodney Orr and Gary Harris every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Central as Wallace and Andre take you inside their time in the Crimson and White and in the NFL. Come along as they give you an inside look into the Crimson Tide and more. Catch us Monday from 7 to 8 Central on Tide100.9.com and TiderInsider.com and all your social media platforms for Inside the Trenches.
All right, welcome back to Inside the Trenches. Wallace Gilberry, Andre Smith, Rodney Orr, and I'm Gary Harris. And we got about 15 minutes left on the program. We're going to take a phone call from Ken on the Inside the Trenches hotline. Good evening, Ken. How are you?
What's up, Ken?
Roll Tide, guys. How's it going tonight?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. What's up, bro?
Let me ask you, I got a question for Wallace and Andre, and more specifically for Wallace. What do you think that at this point in his tenure at Alabama with Kane Womack, the fact that guys are still missing assignments, even on the final interception, I was looking at the all-22, I saw Dijon Lee made. Marquise Johnson's wide open, and there's nobody within probably 15, 20 yards from him. Mm-hmm. Guys are missing run gaps. And I know you saw on the first play, Damani Jackson, tracking a ball out of bounds. And, I mean, he's not even in the play. And I just curious to your reaction. Do you think he's still a good fit? I mean, his numbers are speaking for itself in the second half. But I don't know, man. It's just like at this point, you would think these guys would know this defense enough that it actually would be, they wouldn't have these busts. they wouldn't be giving up these big runs. Every game, they're going to give up a 30, 40-yard run or more. So just I want to get your reaction on that.
Ken, sadly, I'm going to have to agree with you. I feel like in the first half, we're starting too slow. And I don't know if it's lack of integrity of the coaching staff. I don't know where it is. I don't know where the disconnect is, but I'm definitely in agreement with you on there are too many weak spots in different areas, and we're not being consistent enough throughout the whole flow of the game. And that starts in training camp and preseason. You can't fix that during the season. There's no such thing as buddy ball once the season get going. And so can they fix that? I don't know. Will it hurt us on the back end? LSU, Auburn, Oklahoma. Those guys. They're playing some good ball. So, but I'm not worried, if that makes sense, Ken, because I feel like Dre alluded to earlier. At this is the time of the year when you really see what your team is made of. When the weather starts to get a little crisp, that's when you start to feel out. Your team really starts to settle in. So this game right here is really going to tell us a lot about Alabama as a whole.
All right. Good phone call. Appreciate that, Ken. Thank you so much for the phone call. 205-339-4953. Rod, I know you wanted to talk about some of the memories from Alabama, Tennessee, some of the favorite games.
Yeah, I tell you, of course, Wallace won 2 out of his last 3, 2005, 2007. He knows what it is to finish strong against Tennessee. And Dre won 2, 2007, 2008. So he knows what it is. I've followed this series for a long time. I go back, I think the first game I saw was 1968. Wow. But no, I was just thinking about some of the great games, Gary, and I'm going to rattle some off if you don't mind. 1979, Alabama falls behind 17-0. Alabama's number 1 in the country, and rallies back and wins that game, 27-17. 1980, they go to Knoxville, and this is the year Tennessee's supposed to finally break the streak against Alabama, and Alabama dominates defensively. Peter Kim has a big day kicking field goals. Alabama wins 27-0. I think 1989. Well, let me say 86. Okay, Cornelius Bennett has a great day. Alabama stops a 4-game Tennessee win streak. Bobby Humphrey has 217 yards rushing. Alabama dominates. 1989.
Saran Stacy.
Bill Curry. He's playing Murray Hill. Murray Hill gets injured at running back. Saran Stacy comes off the bench, has a huge day. Alabama with a big win there. And I would say perhaps one of my top 10 all-time wins, and this is it. I'm not going to talk any more about it. I don't have any other games, but maybe one of my top 10 all-time Alabama wins was 1990. And Dre and Wallace, I know you guys probably certainly didn't remember this, but Lee Corso said before the game that Alabama was a high school team going up against a bunch of future first-round draft picks. And he was telling the truth. They did have they had 2 first-round offensive tackles. They had Dale Carter at safety, who was a first-round pick, and he ended up the NFL Rookie of the Year on the defensive side. They were loaded with talent. Alabama goes in there and wins the game 9-6. Tennessee didn't score a touchdown, 2 field goals. Tennessee's lining up to kick the winning field goal. Stacey Harrison blocks it. It ricochets off his face mask, goes 20 yards up the field, sets up Phillip Doyle for a 47-yard game winner. Okay. Now here's the thing. That ball that ricocheted off of his face mask, Wallace and Dre, it went 24 yards, I think it was, up the field. Okay. That was more yards than Alabama had in the second half on offense. So if that ball doesn't ricochet like that, Alabama probably doesn't get to kick that winning field goal. But listen, this is Alabama, Tennessee. I wanted to run through some, and I want to know what's your favorite one? Gary?
Well, you mentioned my 2 favorite. My 2 favorite are 79 and 90 for the very reasons that you said. 79, that was a perfect season. To fall down 17, nothing like that. I think they got it to 17-10 at half, and then dominated in the second half to 120. And then, like you said, 1990, Alabama really had no business beating that team.
No business.
And another one that's a little underrated, I remember watching it on TV, was 1976. Wasn't one of Alabama's best team, but fourth quarter game.
2013.
Jack O'Rear scored the winning touchdown.
And you know who the coach was at Tennessee? Bill Battle.
Still Bill Battle then,
Bill Battle.
Yeah.
You know what I like about
they played in them.
No, No, that's what I like about this podcast. You guys are talking about games, but me and Dre weren't even born or even thought about being born. You know, so I love it. I love it. I love it.
Was your favorite 05 or 07?
It had to be 05. I mean, just that defense alone, man, playing with Freddie Roach, D'Amico Ryans, Roman Harper, and all those guys, man, just being, you know, I remember being young and just being, you know, so involved in the defense, having, you know, Coach Cons having so much trust in us. Just excited. And that game was so electrifying because, again, that was a game that we weren't supposed to win. But we fought and clawed the whole game, and Brody and those guys gave us an opportunity, and we got it done at the end.
So, Dre, Dre, was yours 07, 08? I know 08, y'all went up there and dominated.
Yeah, I'll probably say probably 08 was probably one of the more memorable ones, you know. It was one of the, well, 07 was pretty good too, because, you know, that's the game we had Phillip bending over. They been playing the ball on the favor. So that was pretty cool to see him do that. But I think both of those games were really exciting for me, you know, very competitive. Like the squad, I say, those were tough, blue blood, so to speak, type of games. And guys gonna come out there and compete and bust their ass to try to get the victory. So for those guys and for us, it was really fun to compete and play against them for sure.
And you started that 07 game with an onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah, we were trying to steal points.
Yeah, whip them bad. 2009 is another one, and Alabama was a tired football team. Oh, we're going to go to the hotline. Nana is back.
Oh,
hey,
here
Nana.
we go.
Well, good evening, fellas. How are you?
Fellas, get out of the way.
How you doing? How you doing?
I tell you what, my grandson came over here and he pulled up on my computer the camera where I can see you. And I'm telling you what, Wallace in that red shirt got my blood pressure up.
Nana, you better stop before I take it off there.
Get him.
You better cut it out. You better cut it out.
Mercy.
Nana, what do you think about?
You better hush.
Nana, what did you think about the game this year?
Take it out. Well, listen, Gary, you mentioned Jack O'Rea.
Yeah.
My last name is O'Rea.
Yeah. Okay.
Nana O'Rea. And you mentioned Jack O'Rea. And what did you say about Uncle Jack?
He scored a game-winning touchdown in 1976. It was 13-13, and Jack O'Rea ran it in to beat Tennessee in Knoxville. Bill Battle.
So we have always been proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandson, as I mentioned, is playing at Hillcrest, Tony O'Rea.
Okay.
So hopefully he'll follow in Jack's footsteps over there.
That'd be awesome, Nana.
I'm not sure Jack
It
was
really
the best
would.
option runner of all.
Yeah, Jack could run it, man. He tearing Alabama.
Nana,
Wallace,
did you
when can I come see you?
Nana, I was asking earlier, Nana, did you get a chance to watch the game this weekend?
I sure did.
What did you think about it? What was your highlight of that whole game?
Well, I thought we played, okay. I think we've got to do better. I think that Ty Simpson said it himself. He said, we've got to do better. And he's right about that. They've got to do better.
Wallace, you missed Nana's question. Ask him again, Nana.
When can I come see you? When's the next time I can see you somewhere?
Nana, I'll be in Tuscaloosa Saturday at the pregame grandstand with our good friends DC and Matt. So you can come by the pregame show and have some fun with us. We would love to
I'll do it if you promise me you'll wear that red shirt.
All right.
If not,
thank you, Nana.
I just love you to death. I really do. And I say roll tide to you.
Yes, ma'am. We appreciate
yes,
you.
ma'am. Roll
We
tide,
sure
Miss
do.
Nana.
I think Wallace will probably avoid the red shirt.
Hey, yeah, Nana got me sweating. Yeah. I forgot to ask about my pie.
Oh, Lord. She's probably listening. Bring Wallace a pie when you come by Grand Zone.
Wallace, that was the talk of Mobile this last week. Is that right, Wallace? You said it was Nana's call last week was the talk of all Mobile County.
Oh my gosh, she lit it up around here. They're gonna have something to say tonight. They're gonna have something tonight. Something to say tonight. She's becoming our favorite caller for sure.
Well, it's about having fun, that's for sure. Hey, let's do this because we just got a few minutes left. Let's get some predictions. I want you guys to make some predictions for Saturday, and tell us how you think it's going to play out. And Saturday night, I've had some people tell me they'd rather play the Tennessee game in the afternoon, but I think it's going to be awesome. The weather's going to be great. Alabama fans have all day to tailgate and get ready, and then run out there at night. Let's start with you, Gil. Who do you like on Saturday night? Give us a reason and give us a score prediction.
Well, my first prediction, I'm kind of going to go off topic right here. I think Big Crispy's going to get his first touchdown. He's been inching at that goal line week in. So I think this is the week he gets in and gets his first 6 points. So I'm going to go 6 points this week. And the overall score, I'm going 21 Bama, 10 Tennessee.
Defense.
I think they
Dre,
have to call
Wallace.
this week.
Wallace is taking the defense, man. Dre, what do you got?
Game is always low.
Yeah. Is Dre taking a call or is he ready?
30-27 Bama way.
He's going offense. Okay, so Wallace has got a defensive game. Dre's got an offensive game. Of course, Rodney and I have to hold our picks for Tighter Insider tomorrow night. But Rodney, you can give us a little synopsis of how you think this game's going to play out.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, Rodney, who you think more close to me or Dre?
Well, listen, I thought you were wrong a couple of weeks ago on Vanderbilt, and you proved exactly right. So I'm going to do you like I did Saban back when Alabama beat Clemson in 2008.
You're a hater, Dre.
I'd never pick against Saban again. I'm never going to dispute you again.
I love it.
That was just a good guess.
I'll tell you this, Dre and Gil. Alabama fans would love Wallace's prediction to come true because I think Bama fans, although they love the points, the Bama fans are still one of the few fan bases that love defense more than they love offense.
Well, I just feel like we haven't had a consistent defensive game yet, and I feel like this is the game that we get it on track. I mean, and I could be wrong, but I hope I'm not.
Well, it's going to be fun. I mentioned I've had several fans reach out to me and said they were hoping it was a 2:30 game, and I like 2:30 games too. But don't you like night games at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Dre? Don't you like a night game for Tennessee?
Yeah, they are electric for sure. I'm most definitely looking forward to checking that game out. It's going to be exciting.
Wallace, you like night games or afternoon games better?
I mean, I can't recall what the final number was they spent on that light show, but I'm sure they would love to get a chance to use it much as they can.
Rodney, you got a preference?
No, I really don't.
Anything but 11 a.m. 2:30, 1 o'clock, 4:30,
but 11 a.m.
8 o'clock. I hate 11 o'clock games.
Yeah. I mean, there's good. I see pros and cons of both.
It's a night game. All right. That's what we're wrapping it up, man. Time flies when you're having fun. Wallace, I'm going to give you the final word. Again, I know you've already talked about advertising and all this, but we're growing this podcast and you're the one that made it happen. So you got 30 seconds to kind of wrap up the show.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff going on, man. We got some very cool stuff going on. Got the pregame show next week at Grandstand. If you guys are listening, come out. We're going to have some fun. Got a couple surprise guys coming out for the pregame show. We have Antonio Carter, Tyrone Proth will be signing autographs this weekend for us for the Legends. Again, thanks to Law Tigers, Beach Ball Properties, iBeach. And again, we're in talk with a couple more sponsors that we should be dropping next week. So I'm excited, guys. I'm excited about you guys. I'm excited about everything we're doing. Dre, always good to see you every week, man. So, before we go, Dre, tell us about Miles. You guys got your first big win this weekend, man. So how did that go, Dre?
Oh, man, it was a big
Miles
victory. A lot of young guys finally got their first college victory, so that was a really good experience, Hopefully you start a snowball effect and get another victory, homecoming this weekend. So it's going to be electric atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of football flying around, and hopefully we come up with a victory.
Awesome. Great show, guys. We're going to wrap it up for Inside the Trenches every Monday night at 7 o'clock. Tell your friends, spread the word. And if you're interested in advertising, get in touch with Wallace and let's make Inside the Trenches a year-round endeavor. It doesn't have to be just during football season. Let's get it going where we can keep it going all the time. All right. Wallace Gilberry, Andre Smith, and Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for listening and watching.
The fall is a great time to come have a ball at the beach. Harrelson, owner of Beach Ball Properties.